Please welcome Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Said I couldn't come, and I said, yes, I am. So bear with me, please, today. And that was the Florida Fight song. If those from Florida didn't pick up on that, so thank you. And, you know, although I'm away from Florida, I feel like I'm at home because I'm with so many people who I've met here who share a like mind about our passion for limited government and the protection of individual liberty. Because are not possible without people who are willing to defend it. People like each one of you here today. So thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting Americans and our brilliant founders understood so well. The fight to preserve liberty never ends. Ultimately, whether we will be a free people is up to all of us, and that's why we're here. The Constitution doesn't belong to 5 justices who sit here in D.C. The Constitution belongs to we the people. It's our fight. It's our duty to demand that our elected representatives govern within the limits laid down by our founders. The Supreme Court ruled on what Congress could do, but it did not speak to the more important question about what Congress should do. In fact, what they said in their opinion was it's up for us to decide in elections. Every one of us. You know, as Calvin Coolidge, one of our greatest and really, I think, underappreciated presidents, once said, listen to this, ours is the government of the people. It represents their will. Its officers may sometimes go astray, but that's not a reason for criticizing the principles of our institutions. The real heart of American government depends on the heart of the people. It is from that source we must look for all genuine reform. He was right, and it's time again to affirm why. God bless all of you, and God bless America.
Humidity to make it to yesterday. I don't know if you saw the coverage that you achieved for this repeal of Obamacare. Did you see it? C-SPAN ran it live the entire way. CNN, Fox News, across the board coverage of activists from around the country converging on Washington, D.C. to demand a repeal of this health care takeover. That's what you did yesterday. But what we appreciate most is her steadfast, principled commitment to our conservative cause. Don't you appreciate that? You don't have to worry or wonder where she's going to be and is she going to be in the thick of the fight. You know she's going to be there leading the way. And that's what we respect the most, and it's why we wanted her here this morning with you. So please welcome our friend, Laura Ingraham.
extended family. So, and you guys, I heard you were all hungover. You look pretty good, not bad. Those oyster shooters you were doing last night, I'm telling you, no problem whatsoever. I decided to start today with a little joke. You guys mind? Okay. Harry Reid. Poor old Harry. He has a lot of imaginary friends. They tell him things, no attribution. Some say, it's like when you're tuning into the newscast, some say that candidate X can't win, or some say that the economy's going to be improving at any moment now. Some say, and Harry Reid, of course, the other day was saying that word's out that Mitt Romney paid no taxes. Word's out. I'm expecting Harvey the Rabbit to appear any moment. I think actually Jimmy Stewart, disinterred, would look better right now than Harry Reid. And you know what you're going to get with me. No, I mean, imaginary friends are fine. It's kind of like imaginary jobs Savior created. Michelle Obama was at the Olympics. How many of you saw the First Lady there? And she was supporting our athletes. Apparently she won the gold medal in shameless self-promotion during an international sports competition. This is awful. She's a wonderful person and beautiful woman. And I actually have a little question about that. Do we really need to tell the world's top athletes to let's move? I mean, they're doing a pretty good job of moving, don't you think? Only in Washington, by the way, would 8.254% rather than 8.3% sound like a great accomplishment. Of course, I'm talking. No, it's not 8.3% unemployment. It's 8.254. I mean, we're not this rounding errors here. You're not doing the uneven balance beam scoring. This is we only do 2 of those digits usually, right? This is crazy. 50% or so of us who are actually paying taxes in America, we're always the ones left holding the bag. You notice that? We're always the ones. Hey, come back to us. We just need a little bit more money. The next time we stimulate, it's going to actually work. All these so-called smart people in Washington think they know better than the free market, and oh, if we only do this, then you're going to see this explosion in green technology. Well, of course, we see what's really happened. Billions of dollars down a rat hole. I call it our cash for green clunkers. And it turns our collective stomachs green. Our faces green, but no greenbacks coming back our way. So let me get this straight. We're supposed to be upset about a private equity firm that was one of the most sought after and successful firms of its kind, made a profit, returned profits to its investors. They're the bane of our existence, yet we're supposed to be happy that our tax dollars go to producing cars that nobody wants, like the Chevy Volt. Sorry, all you Chevy Volt people in the audience, sorry about that. By the way, is it bad of me, is it terrible of me that during our recent power outage in DC, when we had those terrible windstorms, that when I saw a Chevy Volt on the side of the road abandoned, I felt good about it? That's terrible. You want a confession today anyway later on? I'll throw that in. Was predicting that by 2015 there would be 1 million electric cars in the United States. Just 3 years away. And Chuck Schumer, no, I'm not going to call him Chuck Schumer in the front row. Thank you. societies, free market societies, believe that growth, prosperity, and ultimately human fulfillment are created from the bottom up, not the government down. Only when the human spirit is allowed to invent and create, only when individuals are given a personal stake in deciding economic policies and then benefiting from their success, only then can societies remain economically alive, vibrant, dynamic, progressive, and most importantly, free. Trust the people. This is the one irrefutable lesson of the entire post-war period, contradicting the notion that rigid government controls are essential to economic development. We know today what we have to do. We know the challenges that are before us, and they're daunting. They're big. It seems sometimes that there's a chasm between us and those people who are supposed to be representing us. I say it's time that we, the people, declared our dependence from those who do not serve, those who do not bend to the framers' vision of what economic freedom and individual liberty were all about. It is time for us to proclaim our independence from that view and our dependence on what we know to be true. I'd like to call this the Occupy the Constitution movement. From people like Rand Paul in Kentucky, Mike Lee in Utah, Scott Walker, of course, in Wisconsin, Susana Martinez in New Mexico, Ted Cruz's big victory in Texas. And last night I had the great privilege of having a small dinner with Bobby Jindal, who is transforming education in the state of Louisiana. You know what all these people have in common? One thing: courage. We can't go off a cliff, despite the fact that that's the Democrats' plan for us. And then they'll really have power. We won't. We can't. We shouldn't. We've been through much worse before. We've defeated tyrants. We've separated ourselves from a repressive monarchy, and we'll do it once again. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen in Washington necessarily. It's going to happen with all of you. I am absolutely convinced of the goodness and the innate understanding of the American people. We can't ever become too tired or too disappointed or too discouraged. We can't. We have too much of a legacy and too much of a future to build. And I, for one, am humbled and absolutely thrilled that so many of you have already been able to meet so many of you today, but that you could have been doing anything this weekend and you came because you have a stake in this country, and you know if this thing goes down the tubes, all bets are off for the rest of the planet and our children. Not going to happen. God has a plan for us. I can't wait to see a plan.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, AFP Foundation President Tim Phillips.
So of course, again, I'm not giving advice to any potential presidential nominee. I would never do that. But if Walker McDonald not available, Laura Ingram's not bad. I mean, that's those are some of the activists we honored, are not some of the leading AFP activists, Foundation activists we honored last year, but we wanted to honor 3 activists this year. Good morning.
His courage to stand up
and make a difference, to lead the community to know that they now have the power to control big government and to make it a government of the people, for the people, and by the people is amazing. And I know that this organization is full of Merv clothes that it takes one person to create a change. So I'd like to congratulate Merv Clove for his outstanding actions.
Present Annette Olson from Uninfringed Liberty, who is always there for the cause of freedom in Wisconsin. Annette?
Frank, our Colorado State Director, we're pleased to honor Dale as our Activist of the Year as well. Someone else, Judge, we just wanted to recognize, a few years ago I had the opportunity to go to Normandy. And we went to and visited Omaha Beach and Utah Beach. I walked along the beach with my wife and saw the side of so much valor, bravery, in a lot different era from the greatest generation. And we went up to the cemetery that's on the bluff above Omaha Beach. And we looked at the crosses arrayed in rows. And we then went from the D-Day beaches to Sainte Marie Église, which was the first village in France that was liberated by our paratroopers. Just slightly inshore, about 6 miles. And it was one of the nights and days, we spent 2 days there, that my wife and I'll never forget. And in the state of Maryland, we have an activist who has worked long and hard with Americans for Prosperity Foundation, with Nick and Dave Schwartz, they're our state director. And his name is Bob Brenner, Colonel Bob Brenner. He served at D-Day, he was there on those beaches. And he fought all the way across France into Germany. He was at the Remagen Bridge battle that provided the first bridgehead across the Rhine River into Germany the following year in Europe. And he served our nation as part of the greatest generation. And he's an AFP activist, and we're just darn proud of that, of all the veterans that do that. But Bob, I know you're here somewhere. I'm not sure where you are, but we just want to recognize you and say thank you, sir, for this.